Good morning. John Tarks here with Midline in Minden, coming to you from our Minden office. It's Friday morning, July 14th, here with your Friday First Look video. This video series is put together to give you some tips and suggestions and things to kick around over the upcoming weekend to prepare you for the upcoming week. Sitting here on the 14th of July, number one topic outside of a few Japanese beetles in the area is fungicide application. And we'll want to talk a little bit about corn first, as well as soybean considerations to help you arrive at a decision that hopefully makes you most profitable on your farm. Traditional measures for fungicide and corn obviously start with what you've got out there for hybrid selection. Can't encourage you enough to talk to dealers like ourselves to talk about hybrids and different environments and situations where those hybrids possibly may need fungicide. I think across the board, the industry over the last 2 or 3 years has really gotten good at punching hybrids out and recommending hybrids to guys that you don't know the day you shove it in the ground it's going to guaranteed need fungicide. So I think as an industry we're doing you guys a better service with that. I think the next step that's very critical in the process is scouting. We have a lot of guys that access our Service Plus platform, and we've got our guys out using Climate to scout with. Those are great tools to be able to pull up as an advisor for you guys and to say, yeah, this farm looks like one to consider, this one looks pretty healthy. And I think it's also important to consider when evaluating disease and how that's going to impact your decision to spray fungicide or not. What you see today may be different in 10 days. We certainly experienced that with the 2016 crop, with many guys bypassing using fungicide only to get 10 to 14 days down the road wishing that they had. So I think, our common core, if you would, that we evaluate fungicide decisions is still there and still very pertinent in that decision on should I do it, should I not do it. I think a couple other factors that have maybe kind of changed my tune. I know on our own farm operation, we've gone from one that kind of selectively has put fungicide on over the years to one that puts fungicide on every acre every year. And we've certainly worked with some growers. If you kind of get a general feel for what's going on out in the country and with the people you're working with. And I'll say that our absolute best growers are guys that have had the absolute best yields over the last 2 or 3 years. They're guys that have been very firmly in that fungicide camp. And I think some of the advantages that you can expect with fungicide on a year in, year out basis, and why like in corn we're seeing a 10 to 12 bushel year over year hike, is that we're slowing the respiration of that plant down overnight. And that's going to in turn throughout the day lower the canopy temperature that you're going to find. Everybody talks so much, what's drought stress going to be like? What's heat stress going to be like? And how critical will that play into things during pollination and its impact on yield? Looking at a drop of 5 to 10 degrees in temperature in that canopy, based solely upon slowing the respiration down of that plant, I think that's something to really consider and something to factor into why we should use fungicide on our acres. I think the other part that I feel is awful critical with looking at this is evaluate how much moisture is in that canopy. I know for a long time I wandered around thinking, once that dew dries off, unless I got it rain overnight, I probably don't have a very susceptible plant out there. But in reality, that dew gets down into a shaded canopy, even if it's just a heavy dew for the day. We're probably looking at 20 to 24 hours of the day, 20 out of 24 hours in the day, that we've got moisture of some kind in that canopy on that corn plant. When you think about that and consider that, you've got an environment that's pretty ripe for any type of fungal disease to come in there and to do something that you're going to want to put fungicide on. I think slowing that respiration and a consideration of how much moisture is probably truly in that canopy are reasons that we've kind of changed our tune on our own farm operation and have gone to an every acre, every year approach when it comes to fungicide. And obviously you guys get the long-term benefits about standability at harvest, long-term plant health, and how it all correlates to yield. It takes just one windstorm on an untreated field late in harvest to have certainly paid for an awful lot of fungicide. The other side of the fence is soybeans. Get to talking to guys and seeing some experiences with, really positive experience with guys putting it on around R3, which is about where we're at right now. The very first applications of fungicide in soybeans have started this week, and I know over the next week to 10 days those will really crank up. I think R3 is a very critical time frame. Corn, from an application timing standpoint, we want to be at tassel to brown silk, and preferably closer to tassel. It's a little bit broader window than to say R3 on soybeans. R3 is very definite. You've probably got, a 3-day to a week-long period at best to really maximize what you're going to get out of fungicide in soybeans. So I think those are things right now. Understand that your timing application and your window for beans is tighter than it is in corn. You're going to want to be scouting your soybean fields, understand that you are at R3 or where you're at in the reproductive stages of that plant, and then be in great communication with your fungicide supplier and applicator. So those are some tips that we feel are going to help you on the fungicide side of things to arrive at decisions on your farm. Obviously, you've got to take a look at the economic benefits, take a look at your break-evens, and evaluate those things as well. We also think this is an excellent time to throw a little fungicide in. We wait to be haphazard with putting insecticide out there with your fungicide application, but with as many hot spots as we're finding for Japanese beetles, there are a few applications, though not many, going on currently to provide, protection against Japanese beetles specifically, as far as silk clipping, as far as working on defoliation of those plants. And I think it's just a good time to kind of put that in and be kind of the cherry on top of the mix right now. Before we conclude this morning, coming up next Friday the 21st will be another one of our Panera in the Plots over at my place down there south of Bentley in our 10-year corn on corn location. We'll be digging a root pit. We've got a really unique strip out there. We took our 16-row planter across the field and put in 13 different hybrids in each unit. We'll have a pit there dug about 5 or 6 foot deep, and we'll have a chance for you to come on down. Carrie loves putting together a Panera morning for you guys with coffee and bagels and souffles. It's a little bit unique for a bunch of farmers like ourselves, but we think it'll be a unique opportunity with DeKalb agronomist John Swalwell and myself to walk through, evaluate the different root masses under quite a few different products, including a few competitive products. We'll also get a chance to take a look at that strip that we measured back during the spring as far as emergence and cold soil temperatures, and just to kind of touch base with where we are for the growing season. With that, my name's John Tarks, here with Midline and Minden. This has been your Friday First Look video for July 14th. Have a great weekend.